How long is this going to take? The question that frustrates all of us dentists. No one asks this at the hair salon. They will sit there drinking wine, wearing a cape. They'll leave their kids at daycare not to mess up their highlights. But us dentists get asked, how long is this going to take? It's the Mr. Grumbly of questions. But luckily, my amazing friend and sponsor, Dr. Aaron Nicholas, is going to help us get faster. So I'm ready for you to bring up the amazing Aaron when he is ready to come up. And he is going to share with us his awesomeness. So many A words, Aaron. You've been an awesome friend and sponsor. Tell us, before we dig into exactly what's the benefit of more efficiency in everything we do? Better plus faster, not faster plus worse, but more efficient. You've been a dentist for a few years. Tell us, what's the benefit of efficiency?
Well, I mean, for me, if nothing else, when things are just taking a long time and dragging along, you actually don't do as good a job. You know, if you're efficient, you have your steps down, you go through them 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you really just do a better job at what you're doing. The other thing I always tell docs that I do training with is, you know, every time you do work for a patient, that's your audition for the next piece of work.
Yeah.
So if it took you 3 hours or 4 hours to take a tooth out or to do a root canal, you know, the next time you go, hey, you need a tooth out, or hey, you need a root canal, what they're thinking is, okay, I got to get ready for 3 to 4 hours. Maybe I'll just wait till it hurts.
And actually, yeah, because I actually told this to the residents yesterday, Aaron, at the VA. You can bring up Aaron's text code because he has an amazing offer. You can get a guide on how to do faster, more efficient root canals and crowns. But I said to the residents at the VA, only once in my entire life has a dentist had a patient want to stay there more. It was a new mom, Aaron. It was her only break of the day, and I finished the filling in 30 minutes. She thought it was going to be an hour, and she goes, "Oh, can I stay here longer? It's my only break." But that's one patient versus tens of thousands that want to get out of the chair faster. So you help dentists do this. Monday Morning Dentistry, you help them with this. Tell us about what you do. We're going to your courses in a minute, but what inspired you to create this, and what do dentists leave knowing after taking your courses?
So what inspired me to do this, and the reason the name is Monday Morning Dentistry, is because when I was early on in my career and things weren't going well at the office financially, before we had hired some consultants, you know, the first consultant, I could go to a CE for free, and I would go. And sometimes, like, it was worth it. It was gold. And sometimes it was such fluff and non-actionable items that I was like, I would have been better just staying at home. You know, I gave up a day, and I gave up a day off, and, you know, the whole 9 yards. So I always promised myself, if I ever got in a position where I was going to be doing any kind of training, that it was going to be applicable for Monday morning. So that's why it's Monday Morning Dentistry. And it's not one of those things where you have to revamp your entire system in order to implement. You know,
I think that's really important, because every team member dreads when their dentist goes to a CE course and they say, what are they going to bring back on Monday? I want to share that people can text RCT to 215-543-6454 to get a free guide from Monday Morning Dentistry on how to be more efficient and learn about their upcoming courses. You said something there, and I want to dig into for a second. Where'd you go to dental school?
University of Maryland Dental School.
What year did you graduate?
1987.
87. Okay. I was 2000. So you graduate. Why were you struggling financially in practice? They must have taught you great business skills in school. You know, you're Aaron, you're a dentist. You're now a black belt coach. You're part of Mark's DSI. You're our top of the top. How did someone like you struggle financially in the beginning?
I got out. So my 4th year in dental school, I started looking around. I did, you know, surveys with different cities around me. I looked for practices. I ended up doing a scratch start. And you have to remember, this is before the internet was invented. So there's no information out there. Okay. The instructor that I worked with at the dental school, you know, kind of helped me go through things. I set the practice up. There was no marketing plan in any way, shape, or form. He didn't mention it, and I was too young and stupid to realize I needed one. And in about a year and a half, I could see I was going to go bankrupt. I had no more working capital, although I didn't know that's what it was called at the time. It was just money in the bank. And so when I called that instructor up, he said, "Oh, no. I'm not that kind of instructor. I'm just here to tell you it's going to be okay. I'm like a Jewish mother." And I'm like, "Do you have a buddy that might need an associate? Like, you know, what can I do here?" And he was like, "No, I'm sorry, I can't help you." And so, I had sat down and I was talking to the periodontist that was in the office next to me. She had opened the same day just by coincidence. And we were talking, and I said, yeah, in about 6 months, I'm going to be out of here because I'm not making it. And she said, there's a general dentist in the next town over. He hired these consultants. He's pretty happy with them. Maybe you should talk to them. I didn't even know that dental consultants existed.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
I want to pause and show how irresponsible dental school is, because we invest 4 years of our life. Even though 1987, the tuition was different, you invested money. And the fact that they don't even make you aware of I always call it the people in your neighborhood that you need to survive, like a Sesame Street thing. It is wildly irresponsible of them. They charge the money, they put you through it, and they don't even say, hey, you know what? You need disability insurance. You might need a practice management coach. They just literally close the doors and they bring in the next full paying customer. So this periodontist, it sounds like that was a life-changing moment for you.
Yeah. And it was a random conversation. And we just happened to be shooting the breeze one day at the end of the day. And she mentioned it, and, well, who's the doc? I called him up and talked to him about who it was. I'm like, great. I got those consultants out. I talked to the representative who came out. They wanted you to sign up for a contract for X number of months, a year. And I said, okay, so how long do you think it's going to take you to get me in the black? And he said, well, I think we should be able to do it in 6 months. I said, that's good, because in 7 months, I'm bankrupt. So great. You can get in line behind everybody else. And literally, that's where I was. And he was as good as his word. We were in the black, actually a little shy of 6 months.
What is the thing, I love this story. We'll dig into it on a future episode. But if you could kind of distill the thing, like what was the thing that he did that really got you going on the right track? Like what was oh, geez, you got to think about this way different than you've been thinking about?
I think the more accurate way to say was, what was it that you weren't doing that made this happen? And it's like, okay, so what's your scheduling policy? They tell me when they want to come in. He's like, yeah, we'll change that. What's your payment policy? We'll submit the insurance and then we'll send them a bill. He's like, okay, we're going to talk about that. And like, you just go right down all the different processes in a practice that you need. I had no idea.
And I think Aaron would say, Mark is such an amazing guy. They're a sponsor of the group, and you're part of the DSI and DSN. It's really systems. You had no systems.
Right.
You had no systems. So
for anything.
To use now, go bring us back to clinical dentistry. You do these courses, and you did one in Philadelphia. I brought donuts. Dr. Christian Mullen was there. It was fun. I love your classic way of teaching. Tell our audience what happens at these courses. They show up in person, and you basically blow their mind as to how they can most definitely complete a root canal buildup and crown faster. Tell our audience about that.
Right. So the first half of the day is 4 hours of me lecturing, and the second half of the day is hands-on on extracted teeth. And you're going to get lots of reps because, it's not a live patient. If something gets weird or messed up, you just throw it away and you'll get a new one. So, I want people to get lots of reps, lots of experience. But we also have a protocol, and it has objective measurements. And it's like, this is the way that we do it. Okay. This is how you know when it's time to go to the next step, and don't go to the next step until the step is finished. Because a lot of times docs go, well, this isn't working, so I'll get a bigger file and push harder, and that generally is not a great thing. The other thing too, is we look at what does the research really say? There's a lot of stuff floating around there as truth that's really marketing that has made its way into the common, minds of dentists in general. And they're like, well, it's, as X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, support that with research, And
also, and I have to say, because I know I've seen you at the gym at the DSN with me. Are you eating the same way you did in the 80s? Are you having 12 servings of bread a day? Right. So the research used to be that we should eat in this food pyramid. And we kind of found out that was not the way to eat, right? So dentists always have to be mentally flexible, not to try the next greatest thing because they saw it in a magazine, but not to be so unbelievably rigid, because you've been a very, very good community member on Dental Nachos. You're always classy. You always share, because there's people who literally become incensed if the sodium hypochlorite doesn't sit as long as they were told back in dental school 20 years ago. So I think that, and what you also share, and I'm afraid to say this, Aaron, because I'm going to cost you some money, because Dr. Ben Baranis, I think you owe him a bottle of champagne, because he said so many times how amazing your course is. For the ROI factor, tell our audience about what you want to send, what you want from them, because you want them to be able to pay off this course, and how long.
Right. So the thing is that dentists are just famous for going to CE courses and never implementing. You know, it's like entertainment for dentists. It's a little twisted, but it's what we do. So what I want them to do is, if you're going to come out and you want to do this, if too much time goes by, you lose your nerve, you lose your oomph for doing this. And so we run an ROI challenge, which is, as soon as you've done enough molar root canals that you think you've paid for this course, which is usually 1 or 2, send me a picture of the last one, and I will send you a gift. And it's usually awesome. A book that's really working for me this year, that I'm concentrating on or trying to implement, that sort of thing. But for most of those folks, it's 7 to 10 days. If you've done root canal therapy, you know, anteriors, premolars, you can do a molar, and usually we're going to see it in 7 to 10 days that they're going to get that ROI.
I love this. I mean, it's you're doing the work of the Lord G.V. Black, Aaron, because this is what so many dentists need, to sit with someone like you and talk about why efficiency is important, and then to practically relate it to a root canal buildup and crown, and then do it faster than they did before. It's not a contest, but maybe they were taking 2.5 hours to do it, and now they're taking 1 hour and 45 minutes. Has that been some of the results? I mean, I promote you as the 1 hour doctor time root canal buildup and crown to create excitement, but really, is it really just about being more efficient than you were the day before?
Yeah, it's definitely about being more efficient. And sometimes I'll get into conversations with doctors and they'll go, well, I like to do it like this. And one of the things I've been doing recently, which seems to really help, is say, don't add my system to yours. Just do my system. Right. And I have a couple of examples, because I went and, well, I'm not going to tell the story because this burns up time. But basically, if you'll just do this system so that you have a system with objective measurements that you know will work. Now, if you want to swap stuff out for something you're more comfortable with, okay, fine. But if that then results in you taking longer, now you know what your adjustment has done. If I have a superpower at all, it is that I can look at a process and go, that's not important, that's not important, that's not important, that's not important. These are the things we need to do that will get us to our goal without doing anything extra. You know, the minimal effective inputs. And that's, like I said, if I have a superpower, that's it. And you've got to be organized. If you're not organized and you're looking for stuff and you're sending your assistant down the hall to get stuff that should be in the room, you're not going to get to that hour.
And I think that's why I want people to text RCT to 215-543-6454, because you give them a guide on how to set up. And it's like those commercials when I was a kid. I think they said knowing is half the battle. I think the setup is like 80% of the battle for everything that we do in our offices, because it's just that one time where you go, hey, can I have that red thing? And their assistant looks at you and you know they don't have the red thing. And now it's 4 minutes, and also a lot of frustration. And also the patients know you're looking for the red thing and they don't have confidence in you. So I think, you know, you're doing an awesome job. Tell us as we wrap up, when is the next course and where is it? They can text RCT to 215-543-6454 to find out about it. But where will you be taking your talents to next?
Right. So we hold courses in Burtonsville, Maryland, which is my old office. I still work there, but I'm no longer the owner. And then we do one out in Tom Reed's office out in Denver. And
nice.
I'm sorry?
Nice. Denver's a very popular place.
Yeah. No, we've been doing them there for a few years now. So the next one's in Denver, and it's on August the 26th, which is a Saturday. And so, I mean, we've been, Tom's office is great. He's got a nice lecture space, and then it's a beautiful office, and you know, it flows very nicely, and his staff are great too. So,
I love it. You're different parts of the country. Well, I'm going to see you just in a few weeks coming up at the Awesome Dental Success Summit. I really appreciate your support. You're doing amazing things here, Aaron. Thanks so much for being on with us.
All right. Thank you, Paul.